welcome. I'm Jade of Jaded Reader, and today I'm going to be talking about dragons. Dragons are my absolute favorite creature. If I had to choose any type of creature that was my 100% top favorite, it would be dragons. I used to tell people my favorite animal was dragons. I used to be obsessed with dragons. I would read, draw, all I could think about were dragons. I have since kind of expanded my universe, but I'm bringing it back home today because I was placed into the mages for Rachel Marie Book Junkie's Book Junkie Trials. I will have all the information for it down below, but one of the places you have to go on the map, again, go watch her video. It'll make so much sense. You will be ecstatic. But one of the places you go if you are a mage on the map is the Draconic Isles. I almost cried. I was so excited to be placed not only on the mages, but on that side of the map, because the moment I saw her map, I was like, I need to go to the Draconic Isles. And here I am, head to the Draconic Isles, and very inspired to give an entire video based on dragon books, because you might be looking for dragon books to read. Whether you're doing the readathon or not, you should. I will have some honorable mentions at the end, but the books that are on this list are all going to have dragons prominently featured within the entire story. They have to be in the story, not a guest appearance. So the types of dragons I will be talking about today are going to be a couple different dragons. So I'm just gonna get the dragon terms out of the way. You have the umbrella term, which is indeed dragon. Dragons can be Eastern dragons, Western dragons. There's a whole bunch of different subcategories for dragons, but there's, again, just the nice solid umbrella term, which is dragon. Then you can go into subcategories where you have wyverns. Those are going to be dragons with no front legs. They will still have wings, but no front legs. And then you have drakes. Drakes are going to be dragons with no wings, but 4 legs. Then there are worms, which I feel like this dragon gets a bad rep for being called a worm, but it is spelled with a Y, and those are going to be dragons with no legs. I have seen dragons that do and don't have wings in this case, which to me seems more like a serpent or a basilisk, which has been put in the category of dragon before, but I also think of basilisk as their own thing. So worms get dicey. Things get dicey around worms, but I will be bringing up some worms today because they have been categorized as dragons. And then you also have lindrums, which are kind of the opposite of wyverns. I don't think I have any lindrums on this list. Off the top of my head, I'm doing leg counts and where their legs are put, and I don't think I have any lindrums, but those are going to be dragons with front legs and then no back legs. It kind of just, snakes into a snake. Those are some different categories, so if you hear me say it's a drake, you know what I'm talking about. Alright, first off, definitely gonna get these behemoths out of the way, mostly so I don't have to hold them the whole time. So I have Priory of the Orange Tree by Samantha Shannon, and this one's so much smaller, and A Game of Thrones by George R.R. Martin. Priory of the Orange Tree definitely has dragons. This is an amazing book for dragons. You have Eastern and Western dragons, not even just featured in this book, they are the prominent part of this book. There's a queendom in this that has outlawed dragons. They see them as awful. Another kingdom that reveres them and worships them. And then you have a whole different region that utilizes them, and they have dragon riders, and it's all really awesome. Some of the dragons talk. It's just, you get a lot of dragon action in this, and they're detailed. They're well thought out. I really, really love the dragons in this book. Small disclaimer here. I still have about 10% of this book to go. I tried doing it for a read-along, and I could not make it. This is a chunker. If you are thinking of doing this for a readathon, I hope that this is one of your only books, or you're just reading graphic novels for the rest of the time. There are some slow parts. The story for me so far has been good. Dragons in this for me have been excellent. So that is my first recommendation for dragons. Then I'm sorry if I'm the first person to ever mention dragons in Game of Thrones in the same sentence, and that I ruined something for you. But in Game of Thrones, there are dragons featured. They're at the end of the first Game of Thrones, and they are throughout the rest of Game of Thrones up until the date they've been published. And these dragons are cool. You have a character called Daenerys. She's known as the Mother of Dragons. She brings dragons back from extinction, and she has the only dragons in this world. Towards the end of the book, you get to see them. I believe that these are technically wyverns because they do not have front legs. I'll do some research on it and put a disclaimer at the bottom if I'm completely wrong. I think she's right. I think that these are wyverns. So if you're really looking to invest in dragons, by the end of this book, you have dragons, and then they are very prominently featured throughout the series. Next up, I have Dealing with Dragons by Patricia Reed. So Dealing with Dragons is one of my favorites. I actually made a huge human error in the last time I referenced this because I said that my mom read it to me when I was little. My dad got me this this, and this is all my dad's doing. I had to throw that out there. So this was a book gifted to me when I was little by my dad. It follows Cimarine, a princess who has no intention of being a princess. She runs away and she ends up going to live with dragons. Kazul is an amazing dragon. All of these dragons have differing personalities. They are Eastern dragons. You will see they have the 4 legs and wings. This is part of a larger series where you have dealing with dragons, searching with dragons, calling for dragons, calling on dragons, and talking to dragons. All these books are really fun. I really enjoyed them growing up, and this is honestly one of my favorite books with dragons. They have their own magic system and they can do spells. It's really neat. If you have not picked up Dealing with Dragons, you will enjoy yourself. It's a lot of fun. After that, I have another oldie but goldie, and that is Wild Magic by Tamara Pierce. If you have been on my channel for a little bit, you have heard me talk about Tamara Pierce because I adore her. I adore her writing. I adore how she writes women. These books were so important to me growing up. They're still important to me now, but this video is not about Tamara Pierce. It's about dragons, and there are dragons in this book. So within the Immortal series, you have a dragon named Skysong. There are other dragons involved as well, but I don't want to spoil anything for you. You just have to trust me that there are dragons in this book. Skysong is Dane, our main character's familiar and friend. Skysong does come in later in the book, but is definitely very, very used in the other 3 of the series. And Skysong is a Western dragon. They have wings and 4 legs. Skysong is so sweet, very loyal. You get to see their personality come out as they slowly learn to speak. Dane does obtain Skysong as a kit, which is a baby dragon. I swoon for these books. And while the dragons are not the only focus in this book, they definitely play an important role and they're really awesome. And these dragons have the ability to talk as well. Next up, I have one of my favorite little dragons, which is Furion from The Girl Who Drank the Moon by Kelly Barnhill. This story all by itself is really cute, very whimsical. It's told as an old-timey fairy tale. It's a wonderful book. It's like straight up wholesome. In the story, you have Furion. He is a little dragon and he does not like to be called a little dragon. He thinks he is quite large. He thinks that everyone around him are giants. You just get a perfect picture of Furion's personality and how sweet he is. He was my favorite character in this story. While there was a lot of characters doing really important things, Furion had my heart the entire time. If you're looking for a sweet dragon, one that's not cool and clever and, I don't know, big, you have Furion, who will definitely not be a waste of your time. And let's continue on the cute train with the Tea Dragon Society by Katie O'Neill. Guys, I read this a long time ago, and sometimes I literally just reread it if it's rainy outside or if I'm having a bad day. It's only 60 pages and it's a graphic novel. If you like tea and dragons, this book was created, cultivated, and made for you. This is your book. Congratulations. You can't have mine because this is the Owlcrate edition, but you can get a really cool copy. It looks like this. It's actually my favorite copy of it. I do need to pick it up. I need more than one copy of this book for some reason. This is the original copy and it's adorable. It's fairly large, and I have the small scale copy, which is really nice because I can take it around with me. All right, let me actually talk about the dragons. So you have these 2 little girls who want to learn how to take care of tea dragons. Tea dragons are incredibly fragile creatures. They're very rare and hard to find. They are shy, but if you are able to take care of them, then they produce different types of tea. I can't even talk about this book without tearing up. It's like, it's not even like sad. It's that damn cute. Oh gosh. In the back you have all the different types of dragons, and I'm just gonna show you a few of them. So first off, you have the Jasmine Tea Dragon, which is, I'd say, the main dragon of this story. It's super cute. It's the first one that the main character finds. Oh, the Chamomile Dragon's cute. Oh god, they're all cute. There is the Ginger Tea Dragon, and then I'll point out my favorite type of tea, which is Earl Grey. You have the Earl Tea Dragon. It also has like a cute little explanation in the back. It only grows 1 bergamot on its horn each year, and without the oil from this, the tea will have no magical properties. What? Katie O'Neill, thank you so much. I needed this in my life. I wish I would have had this throughout my entire life, but I'm making up for lost time. I read this quite often. Going back to the big baddie dragons, we have The Last Namsara by Kristen Cicerelli. Okay. So the dragon system or dragon magic system in this book is really cool. You have Asha, who is known as the last name Sara, but the humans and dragons are able to communicate through stories. Dragons collect stories. It makes them stronger. It makes them more powerful. Asha ends up telling a story to a dragon and something horrible happens and a kingdom is destroyed. Asha is burnt. Now the dragons are hunted. From what Asha is told, it is her fault. She makes it her life's mission to make up for the damage she feels she has done, and she is a dragon huntress. So there are dragon deaths in this book, but there's also really freaking cool dragons, twists, turns, and I really loved the story aspect of this. Dragons are always known as such collectors of like gold and treasures. I liked seeing dragons have a different value system in that these dragons collect stories and they hoard stories, and it's just, I really liked the spin they did on these dragons, and I don't remember seeing anything saying that they had less than 4 legs. So here we are with great representations and a very cool twist on a classic Dragon Slayer story. 2 more, guys. You're hanging in there. I'm very proud of you. Second to last is Onyx and Ivory by Mindy Arnett. I really liked this book. I wasn't expecting to even care about this book. I went in being like, cool, Madison got me a book. I did not go into this book knowing I was going to like this book as much as I did. So this is a story that features drakes. They are killer mean dragons. These things can rip you in half. You have Kate, our main character, who is a messenger. Because these drakes are so terrifying and terrorizing, all the different kingdoms in this realm cannot actually leave their kingdoms. They have to send out riders and troops to be able to go from kingdom to kingdom. All of their farms and everything are enclosed because these drakes eat people, they hunt people. There are different types of dragons involved here, but drakes are definitely the prominent one. And I really found the drakes' descriptions detailed. I just picked up Shadow and Flame, which is the second in this series. Look at that cover, guys. Let's take a moment. So this is a fairly new series. If you do decide to read this one, know that Shadow and Flame just came out, so it can be a double whammy. And while I can't say how cool this one is because I haven't started it, I definitely enjoyed the drakes in this book. And my final dragon recommendation book before my honorable mentions is A Natural History of Dragons, a memoir by Lady Trent, written by Marie Brennan. Lady Trent is the memoirist. She is the main character of this story. If you know your astrology signs, this is a Virgo read. This story is so neat. I haven't read a dragon book like this ever, and I really enjoy the format. I love seeing dragons as these mystical, otherworldly beings. I really, really do. Marie Brennan has made dragons a more realistic form in this, and I just really enjoyed it. So I guess if I was trying to describe this book, I'd say that it's if the women of Downton Abbey decide to study dragons. Isabel is our main character. She is not yet Lady Trent, who is a prominent scientist of dragons. She's known for being a dragon enthusiast, a specialist, and this is her life story told by her as she is now an old woman. It takes place in about the 1800s, I would say, but it's definitely like an alternate universe. At first I thought it was a historical fiction and it was our world with dragons, but instead think 1800s Europe, but alternate universe and with dragons. You have several different types of dragons in this book, and she does detail them. There's artwork, as Isabel is an artist, and her ambition to study these dragons starts off with her being a sketch artist for a troupe of men who are going to study a certain type of dragon, and she makes sure that she is along for the ride. After that, she kind of takes on her own adventure, and I just finished this book and I was like, oh my gosh, this was really good. If you're in the mood to sip some tea, feel kind of pompous, and read about dragons and badass women who study them, this is it. This is your book. I found it for you. I cannot wait to start the second book. I needed something just chill to read while I finished up my finals. This book did exactly what it was meant to do, and my Virgo moon was singing the whole time. All right, time for my honorable mentions before I wrap this up and go study, because if you are watching this right now, I'm right in the middle of my finals. Please send me luck, just hearts and rainbows and love, because I am so close to finishing this term and I have all of my finals on Tuesday and I'm expecting to die. All right, my honorable mentions I'm going to be quick with because they are indeed honorable mentions. It's because there are dragons in these books. You can choose this book to read for whatever purpose you are trying to pick up just dragon books, but they're not going to play a prominent role, so they weren't as important to me. I say not important important to me as I pick up one of my favorite books in the entire world, Nevermore, The Trials of Morrigan Crow by Jessica Townsend. This has a character who is a dragon rider, and he rides dragons, and the dragon is in the book. It's just not an important character. The dragon rider is, but not the dragon. Nevermore, The Trials of Morrigan Crow has dragons. Then I'm bringing up The Beast Player by Nohoko Uehashi, and yes, this book has worms. The name in the book is called Todo. They are a water serpent type of dragon, I would say. They're very vicious, and they live in the waters. They're not the main species that's talked about, but they are heavily mentioned, I'd say, as like an opposing side to the royal beasts, which are the main creatures in this book. The royal beasts are set on the front. They are a like half wolf, half bird. I don't actually know how to explain the royal beasts. I have a picture in my head, but it's weird. It's cool. One of my favorite books I've read this year, but the worm basilisk things are just not as heavily mentioned as the royal beast, which you get to know more about. Then I absolutely adore The Hobbit, but Smaug is at the very pit end. He is the goal. So I would say, yes, this is definitely a dragon book. However, there's a lot of buildup. In The Hobbit, Smaug is one of the most famous dragons. You don't get him until the end. So he's an honorable mention. I feel like he would be completely ticked off that I named him at the very dead end of this video, but he's at the very dead end of this book. And he's a jerk. So you have Smaug, who is a Western style dragon. He has 4 legs, he blows fire, he collects gold. He is the most stereotypical dragon I can think of. So if you are looking for a dragon book where the dragon is more the quest than the character, The Hobbit by J.R.R. Tolkien is for you. And Harry Potter, in the 4th book, there's dragons. There's dragons scattered throughout Harry Potter. They're there, they're around. The 4th book is the one with the most dragons, but it's Harry Potter. If you didn't know, there's dragons in it. If you have a dragon book you think I would love and was not mentioned here, that was almost, if not all, of the books I've gotten to read recently having to deal with dragons. Please leave recommendations down below. I'd love to get more dragon recommendations, and maybe I can do an updated video next year of all new dragon books. That'd be sweet, that'd be spicy, I'm into it. So please, send me dragons. Alright, I'm done talking about dragons for the next day or so. I am going to go study, and I hope you're enjoying the sun or more stars wherever you are. Until next time, bye! Focus. Alright, getting a little bit of worm action in here. That's a weird thing to say. I'm not gonna say that. That's a blooper. Ugh. Okay, blooper time. I have another book. I've had it since I was little. I can't find it anywhere, and the title is completely escaping me. It's gonna haunt me for the rest of my life. Or until I find it. I think it's at my grandma's house, but she's not answering her phone. I just had to let you know. There's another book out there, and it's like a dragon book, and it's like everything to do about dragons. I can't find it. It's gone. From my memories, from my bookshelf, from my life, I don't know what happened to it. It was my favorite book when I was a kid. It's not even a story. It's just a picture book of different types of dragons, Eastern and Western. So if you know what I'm talking about, this is I was gonna say public service announcement, but I'm in need of the public service. Does that count? This is officially an SOS signal. I'm looking for this book. It has like gold and red front cover, and it's like long. These are the worst bloopers ever.